Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by thelines.com. Coming to you from the west coast of France, Josh Lander, joined by my guy, Nate Weitzer, on the east coast of the U.S. I'm on a little vacation here, but want to continue to bring you guys these videos as we want to do each and every weekday of this regular season. Definitely want to make sure you're liked and subscribed. We've got a little two-game slate tonight, Nate. I believe it's Thursday here as I'm still traveling and getting used to it. But on this really small NBA slate, just a couple games to go through. We are going to bring you both of those as well as our player props video, where we'll scrounge out some props between these two games for you guys. Also want you to head to thelines.com. That's where we have all of our great written content this year for you guys, and our odds finder tool, so you can go ahead and make sure that you are shopping those lines to the best of your ability across U.S. sportsbooks. Nate, let's talk about each of these lines real quick, and then let's get into our first game here, which is Denver and OKC.
Yeah, I mean, that one right now, Denver's minus 6.5 at OKC. I saw it as low as 5.5. But, yeah, they're creeping up a little bit. The totals at 228.5 was a little higher as well. And then the Warriors creeping up. They're minus 9 at Orlando. Total of 226 there. Yeah, I mean, let's start with Denver here. I think the game we feel more confident in general. Even though I don't think we're taking either of these favorites to cover on the road. I mean, that's the number one thing here. We're super early in the season. You're not going to be able to trust these so-called playoff teams, the defending champs, of course, and a team with high expectations with Denver. It's not just simple addition. Like, you add guys to Jokic, who was playing with almost nobody around him last year, and they're just going to be lights out. Like, there's a lot of moving parts here. There's a lot to work through, especially on the defensive side of the ball, where they're 25th in defensive rating. They're bottom 10 in paint points, fast break points, assist to turnover ratio, and allowing the second most points in the fourth quarter. That combined with their history against OKC, which they failed to cover in 5 straight. They've won 3 of those games, but the total margin is negative 11 in favor of OKC. That includes Denver beating OKC by 5 early in the season here. They needed to shoot 52% from 3 to pull that one out. They got 31 free throw attempts. And the biggest difference was the second unit just got crushed because OKC, while they don't have the most talent, or, you know, you never, maybe it's sort of a feint that they don't start their best players all the time. And then all of a sudden they're throwing out guys off the bench like Jeremiah Robinson, Trey Mann, you know, whoever it is, that's like they're giving you problems. They're absolutely very athletic. This team, this franchise, they do play to win games early in the season. Like, if this game was in March, I think we'd say like, okay, well, SGA is going to be a scratch or something, and they're just going to throw it away. But OKC's won 4 straight. They're over in 3 of those. They're 6-1 against the spread on the season. And the most impressive thing was that they had an overtime win in Dallas, a Dallas team that's way more coherent right now than Denver. They held Dallas to 8 for 20 from 3. Their defense is solid against the 3, 5th in the league. In fact, they do struggle in terms of paint points, but I think that's why I'm just looking at Denver's 52% 3-point shooting as an outlier, saying that's not really going to be there again. And the fact that Jokic hasn't really lit them up, OKC, especially on the road, 18 points per game in his last 3 trips to OKC. I just have a hard time imagining Denver pulling away here to cover 7.
Yeah, it feels like a lot. It's two teams that I don't know. It's fair to say, right, that like Denver seems to be underachieving a bit, and OKC definitely seems to be overachieving a bit. I would say we need to realize that it feels weird to say, but they've been the beneficiary of playing the Clippers twice. That feels weird to say, right? Like, the Clippers over under before the season started, it's like 52.5. And Kawhi is like 6-1 to be the MVP. And I don't think he's suited up yet. Right. So a lot of weird predictions ahead of the season that are not, coming true. And it's because this team looks the team right now anyway for Denver and the way that they're really, already coming out at this point versus the teams that they've played is really concerning as well. Because I guess my main point in talking about, OKC getting to play the Clips is, this is a team that they've already gotten a bit of an understanding, right? They've got their number. There's their speed and athleticism and length was clearly a huge problem for the old, tired looking, Clips the couple times they played them. And then, the win against Dallas is the other one that you look at and you go, huh, like there's something here for this OKC team. Like they came out and they, obviously already looked kind of bad against Denver, but they covered there, right? So then they started to put the wins together and start to figure out how to close out games with SGA continuing to stay in. Like you said, their finishing lineups are lineups that they're looking to win a game. They're not just putting in guys like we talked about the other day when we took a Lou Dort prop that missed by one. But we talked about how this was a team that we liked because of the fact that they were starting to keep their guys in, and we were starting to see them trying to win. And that's been the case the last couple of times. It's been all defense, dude, right? Like this team is 25th in offense right now overall. They don't play at a very fast pace. It's kind of what you would expect when they're trying to keep, these young guys in check. Let's like actually run some offense and let's slow it down a bit. Their half court offense is actually not that bad, compared to really just the fact that they're not getting out in transition, but it's really everything on defense for them, with the fifth best defensive rating right now, and their ability to defend the three, right? And that's sort of, I mean, look, I don't want to simplify the NBA to guarding and and shooting the three, but it's what we talk about all the time. OKC's in the top 5 and being able to do that. Denver is not, right? Denver's in the bottom 7 or so in terms of defending the 3-point line right now, and it's what you continue to kind of expect from them because of the way that this roster is built. You would think that the additions that they've gotten of Bruce Brown and KCP would be a little bit helpful for the fact that they were also pretty bad defending the 3 last year, but it has not been the case so far this season. So, like we were saying, 6.5 just seems a bit much right now. I'm happy to continue to take some of these spreads with these underdogs at the beginning of the season when all these teams are clearly trying right now. Obviously, some are trying while throwing out worse rosters, but this OKC team is not one of them anymore, which I'm really happy to say it's finally coming together in a way that, I think that if they're going to be 7.5 dogs to any of these teams outside of, let's say the top 2 or 3 teams in each conference, which right now Denver is outside of that for sure, then I would go ahead and take those points, and I'll continue to do so.
Yeah, I mean, it's more for me about what Denver's not doing yet. I mean, even you look at last year, they were not the type of team to back as favorites, especially in the division. They went 23-31 against the spread as favorites. They went 5-11 against the spread in the division. And this, at first glance, you look at a Denver OKC game and you're like, oh, that could go either way. Like, for sure. That's a toss-up early in the season. I mean, even late in the season, if they're gunning for spoiler. Denver played a lot of really close games on the road. Their average margin of victory was 1.2. So far, they're 0-3 against the spread on the road in this season. And we should mention the huge rest advantage here, which I don't think is really going to matter for OKC, that they played 2 nights. They're on normal rest. They played 2 nights ago. Denver's been off since Sunday, which I think will help Jamal Murray and some of their vets, definitely come out with better energy. So maybe there is something for the over based on that logic, which is dropping a little bit. I'd be interested in a teaser maybe to get OKC at +10 and then whatever else you like from the other game, or to get the over a little lower here. Because OKC, I mean, you said not with much pace, but they are 5th in pace, and they're 25th in offensive rating, though.
The last couple of games, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're 29th in 3-point shooting, which I don't know if that's really going to regress, but they are dead last in free throw rate, which I think can regress positively. Denver doesn't have great rim protection, and OKC's 4th in paint points,
right.
While Denver's offense might regress from that hot 3-point shooting they had the last time they met, OKC could continue to just get to the rim and hold up their end of the bargain in terms of scoring. So I think points is fair, and just a competitive team that, so without SGA, Josh, they're 15-51 since 2020, but they're about 500 when he plays. They're solid. They compete in this division.
Yeah, no, I love that, and you're spot on there with the points in the paint as well as you mentioned. They're a third scoring that. Denver's in the 24th there in terms of defending paint and giving up that many points a game. So just a lot of things that it's similar to what we're going to talk about in that Golden State Orlando game. There's one team that does things everything they do is generated from the paint and down low with 4 7-footers. And look, Josh Giddey's a 6'9" point guard. They're also a team while he may be coming off the bench a lot. He's also when he's in there a lot of the time with SGA, you've got two guys who can really handle the ball and initiate offense, and they're just big all over the floor at all of these positions. So you continue to like that against a Denver team that, I mean, guys like Bruce Brown, he's like a 6'3" center. So they should still be able to get theirs in terms of Denver's ability. Obviously, you should have a couple of 6'10" guys too, and you have both Aaron Gordon and MPJ on the floor at the same time with Jokic. But it hasn't really been there for them right now in terms of the defense, especially, and then even some of the spacing on offense as they get all of those guys involved, really for the first time since that 8 games before they lost Jamal Murray and MPJ a couple seasons ago. So still need to see it from Denver before I believe it. The way that OKC's playing defense, I'll continue to back them getting 7 points, like I said. So that's all the time we have for you guys in this one. Make sure to like and subscribe to that page. Continue to follow along with us. We are bringing you these videos each and every weekday of this regular season. So until we see you next, happy betting.